I think everybody is wrong about the Odyssey. Let me explain why. I'd like to review the movie and give my honest thoughts on it, but first, I want to address the elephant in the room. There is a controversy surrounding the cast of the movie not being historically accurate, and I want to rant about this thing because it drives me crazy. People are complaining that ancient Greece wouldn't have people of all these different races and that they would all be Greek, or that they wouldn't speak in this modern English and that Tom Holland shouldn't say dad but instead father. Look, I think it's fine if you think they should have gone that route and casted only Greek people and only spoken Greek the entire movie. But a lot, and I mean a lot of people, are complaining about this cast only as an excuse to be racist and transphobic, and it is driving me insane. If you want a quote-unquote historically accurate version of the Odyssey, I will go ahead and say it. It would be a worse movie. I don't think most people want Christopher Nolan to make a movie with completely unknown Greek actors that spoke Greek the entire 3-hour runtime in Greek armor that looks goofy as fuck. And mind you, this is a fictional story. If you want to say, oh, but there weren't any black people in ancient Greece, well, there sure as hell wasn't cyclops and gods either. This casting and the choice of modern English wasn't a mistake. It is a deliberate artistic choice to make an adaptation that is more accessible to the average audience. You connect with the story more if these people look like the world we live in today and sound like we sound today. This wasn't an oversight. It's not like Nolan somehow didn't know that the characters in the Odyssey were Greek. This was an artistic choice. If you want to make a word-to-word accurate adaptation of the Odyssey, then make it yourself. This is not what this is. You have to keep in mind that a lot of choices Christopher Nolan made for this movie was to service the story. You also have to keep in mind that when you're adapting a book to a movie, you have to change a lot of stuff to make it fit the medium. Cinema is a visual medium. A lot of sequences and stories in the Odyssey just wouldn't work as well when adapted. And also, I have to mention this because it is so stupid. Elon Musk said, before this year ends, Grok Imagine will make an AI-generated full-length movie of the Odyssey that is historically accurate and true to the art of Homer. Elon, shut the fuck up, bro. Putting the words AI generated and true to the art in the same sentence is the goofiest shit I've read all year. And also, in terms of morals and takes, do you really want to side with Elon Musk of all people? Every time I see a headline with his name, I just know it's gonna be some bullshit. Anyway, now to actually review the movie and to continue off of my rant just now, I'm gonna start talking about the cast. I think everybody did an amazing job, and there's a few performances that really stood out to me, and I'm gonna go through a few of them. Tom Holland plays Telemachus. Even though he's like 30 years old now, he still pulls off the young teenager or young adult role. I can actually believe that they're a family. He somehow looks a little bit like Matt Damon and Anne Hathaway. I mean, come on, look at this picture. There's this scene where he screams, "Enough!" And it actually shook me in the theater. I was like, okay, Tom, all right. I think it's so funny how this is the first time he's been in such a prestigious movie. He's done other projects apart from Spider-Man, but obviously not to this level. He's working with the best of the best with a filmmaker that is obsessed with practical effects so that he can get those authentic performances from the actor. It's actually so funny to me because after filming The Odyssey, he went back to Marvel to film Spider-Man Brand New Day, and he was like, guys, what the fuck are we doing? The script is not finished. We don't have any planned shots for that day. Can we lock in? And I know it's off topic, but yeah, I'm actually super excited for Spider-Man Brand New Day. I think Destin, the new director, has a lot of potential, and it might end up being the best Tom Holland Spider-Man movie. Anyway, enough about Tom. The next person I wanted to talk about is Robert Pattinson. He's probably my favorite actor working right now. His range is insane. You never know what you're gonna get with this guy in every movie he's in. And as much as I love Robert Pattinson, I absolutely despised him in this movie, and I mean that as a huge compliment. He fully embodied the role. Anne Hathaway was also amazing. She had the presence needed to put that little shit Telemachus back in his place, and Elliot Page killed the role he played. I've seen tweets complaining about how he doesn't look strong enough to be a soldier, and these people clearly didn't watch the movie because the entire point of his character is that he's not supposed to be in this war. He was the child of a farmer, and yet he was brave enough to help. And the last two roles I wanted to talk about was played by Matt Damon and Himesh Patel. We spent most of the movie with these two, and there was so much being said, sometimes entire conversations with just their facial expressions. There's a real conflict here about Odysseus not wanting to believe the gods and doing everything in his power to save his men, and the evolution of that relationship between Odysseus and his soldiers is really being carried by Himesh Patel, and I think he did a fantastic job. The visual effects were amazing. I couldn't tell whenever it was practical effects or not. I think it blended perfectly. Especially the scene with the giants, you generally cannot tell how they even did that sequence. The scene that stands out the most for me was the Cersei sequence, and apparently they did that entire scene practically, and it looks disgusting. My jaw was on the floor. The story itself, I think Christopher Nolan's style of non-linear storytelling and The Odyssey was a match made in heaven. The 3-hour-long runtime goes by super fast until we get to the last 30 minutes. I don't want to talk about spoilers, but there's a scene between Anne Hathaway and Matt Damon that I think dragged on a little bit. But as a whole, I think this movie just works, unless you have a TikTok attention span or something. The score is amazing. They made it so it's not those big orchestras that you've heard in every movie before. It feels so much more personal with these few instruments that actually date from that time period. Oh, and also Travis Scott is in this movie. I forgot to mention that. Honestly, not as distracting as I thought it would be. He doesn't play a major role. It's more of a cameo. I think he did a good enough job. But anyway, do yourself a favor and experience this movie on the biggest screen you can. If you love movies, you will love The Odyssey. This is what movies are all about. It will keep you on the edge of your seat and you will be driving back home thinking about what it is to be human.